Well, I love the Planet of the Apes
Oh,
movies.
of course.
And that's why I hated Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
It's not doing anything I love about Planet of the Apes. Here's what I liked about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to start with the positive. I'm going to sweeten the pot, okay, before I hit him over the head with it. I got to say, I don't think in any of these reboot franchises, which rely heavily on CGI and motion capture, I don't think the CGI and motion capture has ever looked better than in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I thought it was phenomenal. And specifically, because we rewatched all 10 this week.
Yes.
The previous couple, I mean, it's obviously great. It's as good as it could be in the years that these movies came out. But in the previous ones, you can sort of like the blending of the CGI is not always the best against the background. Like you can still, there's moments where you can sort of tell as though it's almost like a slightly, you know, when you see the edge of a green screen around a person. Like there's moments where like you don't see that, but like
that's funny.
The blending. Yeah, imagine
the Planet
that.
of the Apes, like Weta left a little green above Caesar. Yeah.
And look, I know it's as good as it could possibly be at the time, but it just keeps getting better, and this is as good as it's ever been. Like the light and shading on these CGI'd motion capture monkeys, freaking phenomenal.
It's amazing because you know so Weta,
yes, Weta,
the amazing SFX,
Peter Jackson's New Zealand FX company,
yeah, right? It's his Industrial Light and Magic. They did the Reeves pictures, they did Rise, and then of course famously they did the Avatar
Way
stuff.
of Water. They're just coming off. Way of Water was the last one they did.
Way of
They're
Water.
coming off Way of Water,
and that's why in this movie you get so much water. We even see wet apes. So they combined the patent of their hair technology that Weta made for War with the water technology they made for Avatar 2, a bad movie.
Yes.
And you're right, Brett. Like sometimes the movie looked incredible, and it's a ton of CGI because it's so much more apes per minute than usual. Usually there's a little bit more humans. This is all apes.
For the first half of the movie, it feels like you're watching a really good cutscene from a video game. There's no human actors.
I know.
But it's also not like animated. So you're like, I guess I'm just watching a computer that somebody left on for a while. Like it's there's a lot of CGI, a lot of reliance on CGI. Now, but because the CGI is so good, it almost solves the biggest problem that I've had with these recent Planet of the Apes movies, which is that the trademark of the original run and the Tim Burton one, one of the things that made them so good was their reliance on costumes and prosthetics. They didn't over rely on VFX. Instead, they really invested heavily in costumes and prosthetics. First with the legend John Chambers on the original run, and then with Rick Baker, also the legend on the Tim Burton one. And that's what gives the Planet of the Apes its unique dynamic, is that the apes are human actors, and there's a performance element to it, right? And I know with motion capture, we've all seen, circus running around with the ping pong balls on them. There's a performance aspect to that too, but it's not the same. When you literally have like incredible makeup and prosthetics, and then you just get to see the actor, Kim Hunter, perform the role, it just makes it so much more just sort of deep and resonant of a performance than just watching a computer animated ape run around.
Point well taken. I agree, but I have to just shout out, whatever Andy Serkis is doing is different than every other actor in regards to motion capture acting, because in Caesar is basically, I don't know, one of two characters in film history that's a CGI creation that has so much humanity and depth in the animation and in the performance. But Andy Serkis ain't in this one, Brett.
He's not. And look, for me, as well as it's done in this movie, it's still a bad idea. It's not what I want the future of Hollywood to be, even though that battle has already been fought and won.
You did a really good job.
Because to me, a bad idea perfectly executed is still a bad idea. And this points to a bigger issue for me, again, with Hollywood, which is this obsession with CGI and motion capture, because it seems to be about upping the stakes on the action, right? It allows you to just do whatever you want. Big galactic battles that we see in all the Marvel movies. You can keep upping the stakes on the action, upping the stakes. And then I think they think that the better the CGI gets, the more realistic the action seems. So you're simultaneously getting more extreme and ambitious, but it's not looking sort of silly or corny or non-realistic. To which I say, A, CGI, even in this movie, has never looked real. It doesn't look fucking real. And two, even if it does get to a point where it's indistinguishable from reality, and the computers are so fucking smart and I'm so dumb and I just get to sit there and watch the computers be smart, we're not coming to the movies for fucking realism. That's not like the central drive in coming to movies like this. And I want you to remind Hollywood of 3 simple words that I think they've forgotten. Suspension of disbelief. As an audience, I will accept anything as quote-unquote real if it's presented with vision and conviction and purpose. I accept fucking Marcel the Shell with shoes on as real. I'll accept anything as real, all right? It's not always about... And if you're making Manchester by the Sea, by all means, strive for realism. But in terms of, like, CGI and effects, this obsession with, like, we gotta make the CGI more real, and then we'll hit the singularity, and then we've fucking done it, and then we don't need actors anymore, and it can just be computers. That destroys the soul of what I love about cinema. Because to me, the apes in the original Planet of the Apes are 100 times more real than the hyper-detailed, impossibly expensive apes in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because they are interesting and enjoyable as characters. Stop fucking directing movies for the fucking Comic-Con trailer. I'm sick of it. This movie is the epitome of that. You can tell that it was directed for the trailer, and they look, as good as Weta is, it seems like Weta was driving the ship. Like you said, they're literally doing scenes so that they can use the technology they created in Avatar 2 for this movie, right? That's like what's driving the train in some of these scenes. And we say here that we prophesy the future of Hollywood. Right now, I can see all the fucking executives. I can see Zaslav just laughing at my dumbass and saying, "You idiot, that's not how you make money. We know how to make money. This movie's making money, blah, blah, blah." But you're making movies, in this case, about how humanity is on the verge of collapse and how all societies tend towards war and ruin and how eventually everything we've ever made will turn to dust. And you're right. So what the fuck do you care? Can you at least just make good things for us to enjoy in the meantime? Citizen Kane bankrupted RKO. Does that mean they shouldn't have made Citizen Kane? And then on the other side, The Godfather saved Paramount. So make popular art. Take chances. It's fun and you never know what'll happen. But this movie seems cynical to me in its reliance on CGI and on its absolute lack of anything compelling in terms of story or character, any risk in terms of the themes. And that was the... what I just said was the good part about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
You didn't do the bad part yet?
I haven't even done the bad part yet.
What was bad about it?
Well, the story and the characters and the dialogue.
All right.
Joe, who are these toothless fucking dorks writing all these scripts these days? What is this dialogue in this movie? Oh my gosh. Particularly coming off after 2 great Apes movies made by Matt Reeves, which we mentioned. He had an idea for a third. I really liked the last 2, which we'll talk about when we get to the rankings. And I thought they had teeth, and I thought they preserved a lot of the sort of darker, interesting themes of the original run and the kind of anti-authoritarianism and the sort of nihilism, but also like little glimmers of hope. I really liked the Matt Reeves movies. He had an idea for another one. They didn't let him do it because in 2019, in between this Apes and Kingdom, Walt Disney took over 20th Century Fox, who's been doing the Apes movies since the beginning. And then they announced that they were doing more Apes movies, but then they decided to go a different way with it, and that's how we got Kingdom.
Because now they brought in the Avatar team. Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver were already writing for Reeves, but at 20th Century Fox, they became more in a producer capacity, and this is sort of James Cameron's brain trust to create Avatar 2 through 25, including the writer for this film, whose name I'm blanking on. Please forgive
Josh
me.
Friedman.
Thank you very much. Josh Friedman, who wrote this movie, is also an Avatar guy, a James Cameron head, and these people make... And Wes Ball works with them in different capacities. He's newer on the scene, the director, but they work together on these big, epic CGI movies. And you're getting a lot of, hey, it's time to we're finished the Caesar arc. Now 20th Century Fox is owned by Disney. We need to brighten this baby up a little bit. We need to go back, reestablish a bunch of characters, and rebuild from the bottom up so we can have a 3 or 4 episode arc about Noah or whatever. But honey, can I tell you something, Brett?
Yes.
A Noah does not a Caesar make. And by the way, Rafa, everyone's liking the new orangutan.
Boring.
Does not a Maurice make.
Boring.
Folks.
Or a Virgil or a Take Your Pick.
And big Kimi the gorilla mean does not a Koba make, folks.
Boring. Not sinister enough. Here's what I think happened. They hired some fucking company men.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they brought in the Catherine Kennedy, the geniuses, like the cousins of the fuckers that ruined the Star Wars over at Disney are like, hey, it's time to reinvent Planet of the Apes. They made 9 good ones in a row. Let's throw all that away and just focus on the talking monkeys and brighten her up a little bit and create the most basic ass beginnings of our hero's journey and create all this and we'll get it all set up for the franchise. They're doing the thing where they're putting the cart before the horse.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's so annoying to me. They just made 9 good ones.
Yes.
Why such a you're about to hit on differences about what you didn't like about the movie, and I want you to do that.
I am going to do that.
While I'm right before I get off this point,
please.
The only thing that they took into this Planet of the Apes is the talking apes, but all of the stuff that I loved about the original 9
not here.
Are not here, and it's just this could have been called a different thing. This is like a whole. This isn't really Planet of the Apes. It's just like apes. This is called Apes,
yes.
And it's like a new story about a world where there's talking apes, and it doesn't have any of the social dynamics. It doesn't have any of the class sort of interesting warfare. The most interesting thing always in the Apes movies for me, Brett, is the human versus the apes. Where are we on the status? Where are we on the history thing? And this movie is interested in that almost as like a lark at the end, setting up other films.
Yep.
Really didn't understand at its core what's so special about this franchise.
At its best, the Planet of the Apes is weird and it's like punk. I was amazed how like dark some of these movies get, how anti-authoritarian these movies get. And the franchise has
the cops made a fucking Planet of the Apes.
Thank you.
Right.
The Planet of the Apes has some very clearly defined themes for you to work with, like you're saying. The palette is there. You just paint with the palette. The inhumanity of man, the ravages of time, the police state, the way
integrate or destroy.
That's right. The way all societies eventually bend towards war and cruelty, things fall apart, the center cannot hold, etc., etc., etc. And at its best, the Apes movies wrestle with those themes through some really nuanced, interesting, often funny dialogue. But at its worst, like in Kingdom, the dialogue just glides across the top of those themes like a book report that you forgot was due today.
It's Avatar.
This script
nonsense.
is bad. And when I got out of the movie theater, I got on my phone. I was so mad. I got on my phone and my face thing wasn't working because I was so mad it didn't even recognize me. So I had to type in my code. And I was like, Joe, I told you this. I was like, I'm going to look up this fucking screenwriter. I'm going to go to his Wikipedia page, and I guarantee his picture is going to be him at a fucking Comic-Con table, smiling and laughing with half a bottle of water on the table. What did I find when I looked up Josh Freeman's Wikipedia page? A freaking guy at a Comic-Con panel with half a bottle of water, smiling and laughing at something somebody else was saying.
Our nerd overlords.
Stop it. Yeah. Our toothless nerd overlords. And the thing is, like nerds used to like fight the jocks and stuff and used to like be against authority. All the nerds are on the fucking payroll now. These like toothless nerds. I love a nerd. I'm a nerd. But the toothless company nerds, oh my God, fucking save it. This is Planet of the Apes, bitch. You got to come with it. And these guys do not come with it. The one thing that I really hate about the script, it's like it's like sentimental and like humorless, which is not at all the vibe. It's the opposite of the vibe of Planet of the Apes. But 2, it does this caveman talky thing for the apes, which like really limits the amount you can express in the dialogue. Like it's doing, this like I must impress father. Must control birds to impress father, mother. Mother, where is father? Mother, where father, mother? It's doing a lot of like that. And I'm like, we're like basically back to the original movie. Let these, like, in the original movie, Kim Hunter's walking around. She's eloquent, she's funny, she's witty. Dr. Zaius is eloquent and funny and sort of mystical in his way. Just let the apes talk, baby. That's where good dialogue comes from. But he's doing this dumb caveman speak with this sort of sentimentality.
Right, because in Planet of the Apes,
sucks.
They're not quite Stone Age. Maybe they're a smidge past it, but they don't have guns, right? Or like they're not 100%.
They have electronic.
I'm sorry. I'm saying in the original, 1968 original.
Yes, yeah, right.
Because you're saying like
they
why
have
are they
guns-ish? They have like ish guns.
They can speak so like humanly in the original Planet of the Apes,
yes.
And in this one they're still cavemaning it.
Just
it's okay. It's 300 years later. We're good. Just like
Because again, suspension of disbelief.
Nira.
I don't give a shit if the chronology exactly lines up. You're lost in the middle now because now we just have now no one in this movie. Literally, no one can fucking speak in this movie. No one can form an eloquent, complete sentence because the humans have already reverted, even though they can secretly talk, which you find out. But the apes are not quite to Dr. Zaius level. So why are we stuck in the middle, right? Planet of the Apes needs good dialogue. It depends on it. It feeds on it because the themes are tricky, complex, nuanced themes, at least if you're doing it right. So let me say something to you in terms that you can understand, Josh Friedman. Me want good dialogue. Me want nuance and meaning. Me want themes to feed Mindbox. Give me good themes, Josh.
We just watched all the movies again. They're all so good in their own way, and they each pick up a different sci-fi trope or genre move, and they invert it or they play with it, subvert it, different episodes of the Twilight Zone, but all Planet of the Apes themed. And it's always exciting to watch how the sci-fi is going to manifest or how the chronology is going to be put together. And I find it interesting and fun in the original series, in the Tim Burton, and in the reboot franchise. But now here we are in reboot franchise part 2, and if they're gonna paint by numbers hero's journey this, I already saw Avatar 2. I didn't like it.
You're gonna lose all that goodwill.
I don't care how big the whale was.
You're gonna lose all that goodwill from Matt Reeves.
These movies have a political dynamic that is essential, and then they also have a craft dynamic that I understand similar teammates were working on this iteration as the Matt Reeves iteration, but the love of the game wasn't there. And I don't want to say, there was less money in the budget. It's just there was something not right. Just too much, so much time to rebuild the world and the story. I like 300 Years Jump. I like now there's Kingdom of now the clans are getting taken over and smushed by a big mean gorilla. I like that. I like that.
Don't forget where you came from, though. Don't forget where you came from. This movie didn't just spring out of thin air.
Right. They've been not fucking it up for 40 years.
That's right.
Whatever. People like this movie. Or
do they?
People liked this movie.
Yeah.
Guys, we got to hold Planet of the Apes to a higher standard. Otherwise, we're just going to get another one of these. Another who cares.
That's right.
Nothing about the woman that played the part. The human lead, Mia, in this is sort of emblematic of the political atrophy of the series, or sort of this movie takes the whole humans are subjugated or humans can't talk almost for granted. There's no stakes to it. I really feel, and we'll get into the rankings soon, but in the fourth Planet of the Apes, in the War for the Planet of the Apes, you really feel the fear of being any version of the subjugated, the oppressed, whether you're monkey or human. Whenever these movies do a really good job setting up why you wouldn't want to be oppressed in this society. And in Kingdom, we see why they're getting chased around in the first one, but to what end? I don't know. It was scary in the sense that I don't want to get attacked by a giant gorilla, but it was sort of just mealy in its in its specificity of the fear, or specificity of the sci-fi moves we wanted to play here. It just became sort of soft and mealy, and now we're worried about Simba and the girl lion growing up, and who gives a fucking shit? You just had the best character ever. I know Caesar died, and I'll let Caesar go. But what I'm saying is this franchise is totally capable.
You got the template.
You've got the template. CGI character who wasn't like Bilbo Baggins. We didn't meet Caesar previously. I know he's referenced in the lore, but this is a new character made in the 2010s with amazing CGI, computer animated, like you freaks are obsessed with all this gravitas and energy and chutzpah and history, and we were so into him. And then to come out flat, 0 for 10 on new characters, pass. I don't care that the orangutan is a hippie or that he dies like Gandalf. He's not Maurice. He'll never be Maurice. Fuck Raka.
And look, we're going to look at the box office in a second.
Fuck Raka. He'll never be Maurice.
This movie's making tons of money, whatever. But this is what I say to Disney, to Hollywood, etc.
Stop fucking kids.
You might be...
Oh, sorry. What were you going to say? No, I thought you were going to say.
I was going to say, that as well.
What were you
but I was
say?
going to say, you might be too big to fail. Maybe we've entered too big to fail. Everybody's too big to fail, and we all just have to live with it. You might be too big to fail, but you're not too big to suck, and it sucks to suck, and that's something. You suck for this movie, but I'm rooting for you on the next one. I want the next one to be good.
We're huge Apes guys.
We love Apes.
We'll come in for a meeting if you want to talk shop.